Sports. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we roll. It's wins and losses, highs and lows. It's effort, respect, and dedication. The High School Sports Beat. Sports. It's who we are.
Hello everyone, welcome and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We continue our look back at 10 years of covering Section 5 sports with this story on some future broadcasters at HFL. From February of 2014, here's Bill Pucko.
Which brings us to HFL and a young band of student entrepreneurs. Broadcast Central. It's in our ESL Scholastic Sports Spotlight. It's about an hour and a half to game time. The HFL girls basketball team will play host to Brighton. The HFL Sports Network crew is gearing up.
I think we're one of the only schools in Section 5, let alone the state, that have a group of high schoolers broadcasting on the internet all for free. Anyone can watch it. You can watch it anywhere, and you can watch any rebroadcast anytime you want.
Peter Caruso is the brains behind the HFL Sports Network. It was born almost entirely out of a willingness to learn.
My sister actually is going to Ithaca for broadcasting, so I talked to a couple of her friends who are into sports broadcasting, but most of it was from the internet, talking to some professionals on the internet, reading articles, and watching videos.
Organizational business meetings with friends were held in the lunchroom. The plan was presented to Athletic Director Brian Donahue. By November, it was ready for launch.
He loved the idea. He thought it would be just, a one-camera setup, straight to YouTube, but it turned out to be something a lot bigger and special.
They found a way to be connected outside of just playing the game, and they brought a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm to our community because people are able to watch the games, not just people locally, but people far away who have relatives that are playing. So, I give them a lot of credit. They had an idea and they made it come to fruition.
The HFL Sports Network consists of about 20 interested students. They work on a 6-man crew and a 3-camera operation. They are all self-taught. Ben Halloran is the technical director.
It's just amazing to be part of something that's unprecedented. Nobody else is really doing this. There's no student-run media. It's amazing. You get all these hours doing something fun, making something. It's great to see something that's such high quality. That's all you and your group of friends.
Marina Jambrone runs camera.
I want to go to college, hopefully for journalism and broadcasting. And being able to do the sports network has really given me an advantage over many of the other kids who are going into the field of broadcasting.
The telecast is streamed live onto YouTube and remains archived for future viewing. The Brighton at HFL girls game was the network's 11th offering.
Hello, we are back here at HFL. The JV game has concluded, so both teams are now out.
How's your play-by-play coming along?
It's definitely improved a lot. It's something that, I didn't have any experience going in other than watching the Bills every Sunday and, hearing the different voices, Jim Nantz and them. So I think it's sounding a lot better.
The games cost about $1,000 each to produce. Caruso has that covered. 4 local sponsors underwrite the costs. The plan is for the HFL Sports Network to eventually purchase the broadcast equipment and keep the operation solvent even after the creators have gone on to bigger and better things.
People are stunned to think, hey, this is just a group of, average students, this is not their job. They're spending time outside of school, outside of all the other things that they do to put this together, and it's great.
Peter Caruso graduated from WPI and is currently a civil engineer. Marina Giambrone works as a graphic designer here in Rochester, and cameraman Ben Halloran is going for his master's in robotics at Boston University. Definitely a talented group from HFL. Well, coming up next, Matt Trabold joins us for the High School Notebook. We'll have that when the High School Sports Beat continues. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the High School Sports Beat. I am Dave Yates. It's time now for the High School Notebook, and that means once again it's time for Matt Trabold to join us. Matt, thanks so much for jumping on board.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, let's talk some hoops. Let's talk college hoops. Let's talk Siena basketball, and somebody from the Section 5 picking up right where they left off.
So COVID-19 has affected the schedules of various college hoops programs in very different ways, depending on what part of the country, state by state, just all over the place. Everyone's been affected to a certain degree, but unfortunately for Siena men's basketball, that meant the Saints were one of the very last Division I programs to begin its season. It was not until January 3rd, so very late, especially compared to a usual season. They're in the second semester even. Unsurprisingly, not so arguably the best player in the conference, that conference being the MAAC for a couple years now, one of the very best players in the mid-major ranks and beyond since he began college ball, in former Aquinas student-athlete Jalen Pickett. He's been exceptional again, no surprise there. This early season, he's averaging 18 points per game through 3 ball games, including an efficient 20 points in the season opener versus Monmouth. The point guard followed that up with a career-high 14 boards in the next game. Obviously, big coming out of the backcourt player there with all those double-digit boards. Most recently, Jalen scored his 1,000th career college point in a game versus Fairfield. As one of his former high school coaches, John McCauley, who was at Aquinas, as he tweeted, 1,000 points would have happened as a sophomore for Jalen if not for the end of the season last year being canceled. Here in 2021, Jalen has led Siena to 13 wins in a row, carrying over from last season, and the program's first 3-0 start in 17 years. Jalen doing it again.
All right, let's head way out west now to New Mexico and the connection there as well.
New Mexico men's basketball has also had a more unorthodox season than most during these COVID-19 times. The Lobos started late in mid-December, though not quite as late as Jalen Pickett and company. But UNM has actually had to move its home court this season to another state due to that state, New Mexico, the recent policies prohibiting team sports. New Mexico has been playing its home games at Lubbock Christian University in Lubbock, Texas. Coming into this season, former Leadership Academy in Greece Arcadia student-athlete Keith McGee had a lot of eyes on him as one of only 2 seniors in the team, or on that team coming to this season with McQuatch Malawach. Keith was especially doing well in a recent 2-game stretch versus Nevada and Utah State. Back-to-back games there. He led the team in scoring in both of those ones with a combined 24 points in 6 made 3 balls. He leads the Lobos in made 3s this season. A couple games prior to those versus Boise State, McGee left the game with an ankle injury, so he's obviously recovered well from that. It has certainly been a successful few years there for McGee after his stint in JUCO basketball. It's great to see.
Well, from way out west, let's talk about Wesleyan. And finally, for local hoop fans, some college action coming up very soon.
Yeah, with the exception of the Division I women's ice hockey and men's ice hockey teams for RIT, which have been a joy to cover, the greater Rochester area has not really had quote-unquote high-risk college sports since the pandemic hit. That is until January 10th when the men's hoops team at the one D2 school in the Rochester area you mentioned a second ago, Roberts Wesleyan, began its season against Brighton Stratton Buffalo. The Red Hawks have a number of former Section 5 players, the Lewis brothers, Isaiah and Eric from Churchville, Reggie Clark from Arcadia, Shane Fanning from Rush Henrietta, and Caleb Anger from CG Finney. In a 6-point win in that opener, Clark had 16 points, Isaiah Lewis had 11, and Mari Lee had 17 points. 8 boards and 4 steals. An interesting matchup in technically their second game of the season. That's January 16th versus D1 Niagara. That does not usually happen for the Red Hawks. That's a big game there, obviously. The Roberts Wesleyan women's basketball team began things Tuesday night. Former Huntington Falls Lima star Taryn Wilson is on that squad. Also wanted to mention Reggie Clark was the leading scorer for Roberts a season ago. And I wanted to say before I end here, I wish Thomas Bryant, we talked about him last week, I wish him the best of luck in his recovery from an ACL injury against the Heat that is likely to sideline him for the rest of this season. He was having, like we talked about, one of the very best seasons by a front court player in the last 30 years of the NBA. So we really feel for Thomas with that.
I echo those sentiments. Thanks very much, Matt. Great having you on board. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. We're back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this. Up next, the Making the Grade nominee with Kyle O'Gara, and later a packed house for the cheerleading sectional championships. We'll have that one when the High School Sports Beat returns.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the High School Sports Beat. I'm Kyle O'Gara. Making the grade this week is Bloomfield senior Ryan Walschliger. Ryan has been on the Bloomfield bowling, track, and soccer teams since the 7th grade. Since then, Ryan has won multiple league and sectional championships in bowling and currently holds the league high game of $2.99. In track, Ryan was the 2019 MVP, and in soccer, he was named the 2021 Offensive Player of the Year and the FL West Top Goal Scorer of 2020. In the classroom, Ryan is in the National Honor Society and is in the top 10 in his class with a 97% average. Ryan has also been the recipient of multiple Student Athlete Awards and the RIT Computing Medal. Ryan is committed to the University of Buffalo's Honor College and plans to study pharmaceutical sciences. This week, Ryan Walschliger is making the grade. If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. Send them into mtg@rocksportsnow.com. Now here's Dave with the Section 5 Spotlight.
Thanks, Kyle. Here now are some of the athletes, teams, and coaches making news in our Section 5 Spotlight. Aquinas alum Ernest Edwards is continuing his pro football career, signing a contract with the Edmonton football team of the CFL, becoming the first AQ grad to play in that league. Well, congrats to HFL's Griffin Mayo. The hockey player is spending this season on the diving team, and he scored a perfect 10, only the second Cougar ever to achieve a perfect score. And from the slopes of Bristol Mountain, Naples junior Mackenzie Louthen Green placed first with a time of 38.94, which was the best of the night among all skiers, boys and girls. Mac won the Giants Slalom Section 5 championship last season as a sophomore and placed 15th in the States in the slalom. Well, up next, an inside look at the cheerleading sectional finals at RIT. We'll have that when the High School Sports Beat continues.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We flash back now to February of 2014. Here's Bill Pucko.
The debate over whether cheerleading is a sport is largely passé. You only need to see it to know. The winter sectionals are as big as it gets. Cheerleading, front and center. This is the biggest day on the Section 5 tournament calendar, the cheerleading championships. 9 hours of running, jumping, tumbling, tossing, flying, crying, and oh yes, cheering. Produced 6 champions and 3 packed house sessions at the RIT Fieldhouse.
We added level of difficulty for all teams this year, and they've all stepped up to the plate. And it's just unbelievable. It's the scores are very close, and it's been the best year that we've had in a long time.
The girls are judged on a litany of levels. The official score sheet includes grades for motions, stunts, tosses, jumps, tumbling, choreography, showmanship, and crowd appeal.
For a judge's perspective, we really look for a really clean routine with sharp, precise motions and really good synchronicity. We look for a team to have a good level of skill quality and they're in their difficulty range. Also, we look for nice energy levels and showing that they can go the whole routine with a nice, good, confident level and showing them that they're the best out there and do what they gotta do.
31 teams competed in the final session of the day in classes AA and A. Aquinas was up first.
It is pretty tough because you have to set the line for everybody else, but it's exciting to show everybody and kind of scare them a little.
Yeah, but it's kind of nerve-wracking, it seems to me.
It is nerve-wracking because you can't really see your competition first, but it's exciting because we get to set the line for everybody else.
The Irish wound up 5th in Class A, the class that included 6 city school representatives. These teams do things the old-fashioned way, when cheerleading required a lot less gymnastics and slickly produced music. They actually cheer for each other, but they don't impact the standings. Teams like Fairport do. The Raiders are always among the leaders and push the envelope in terms of difficulty. A couple of missteps in their routine left the girls pessimistic about their chances.
there's so much stuff that we put into our routine that we just try harder than we possibly could, and I don't know. I mean, I'm happy with what we did, and no matter what score we got, it is what it is.
Fairport figured to be challenged by Penfield, the defending winter champions, seeking a three-peat if you include the crown the Patriots claimed last fall. Rush Henrietta has shown remarkable improvement under Rachel Taliski, who was honored as Coach of the Year in Class AA and finished third. Spencerport is another perennial contender. Then there's the coach's box, a roped-off area where anything goes in support of your team. Churchville-Chili failed to finish in the top 5, but you wouldn't know that by their reaction.
I have no control. And I'm a huge control freak. So when the kids have it all on their own, it's very stressful, but it's amazing.
I mean, you can't be self-conscious at all in that situation, can you?
I don't care. Not at all.
After all 33 teams have performed, they are brought together at the mat to await the results. This is a time of decompression. It takes some 10 to 20 minutes to tabulate all the results.
We just hope for the best. I mean, you never know at these things. I think everyone really brought a lot today, and everyone was good, and it's going to be a close one.
The Rangers finished 4th. The winner was Penfield.
191.5 Penfield!
It was absolutely unreal. Going into the awards, I think all of us were very hesitant. There was crazy competition in this division. And so going into it, we were all very up in the air about where it was going, and hearing our name called first was unreal. That's the best word I could ever give it.
The Patriots' margin of victory was 2/100ths of a point over Fairport. Closest margin of victory in sectional history.
Nice job. How'd it feel to win this thing?
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I have probably one of my best teams I have ever had. These girls will love each other. These seniors, some of them I've had since they were in 8th grade, some since they were freshmen, and they have worked so hard for so long. I'm so proud of them.
This is not easy, is it?
No, it's not. I'm just a very emotional person. I love these kids to death, and I spend so much time with them. I feel like they're part of my family.
It's just the little things that count. My coach says every single day at practice, the little things, and the tiniest mistake, the tiniest awesomeness could make the difference. And it obviously did today. That one thing that if we didn't do right, we wouldn't have gone first. So it was pretty amazing.
Back row, do me a favor, just slide a little this way, back row. Right about there. That's good. Just like that, ladies. All right, everybody look forward.
We'd like to thank the athletes, teams, and coaches in Section 5. And remember, if you've got a story you'd like to share with us, please let us know. Send an email to rocksportsnow@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Be safe. We'll see you next week for more of the High School Sports Beat.